Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. We are here in Minnesota for the first drive of a totally redesigned vehicle in Chevy's lineup. What is it? It's this vehicle right here. This is your all new, from top to bottom, 2025 Chevrolet Equinox. This particular one is even a new trim called the Activ. But before we get into this off-road ready compact crossover SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. So Chevrolet, going through their lineup, they've already redesigned the Trax, they've already redesigned the Traverse. Now it's the time for the Equinox. And even though Chevy's gonna still have that Equinox EV, they have this internal combustion engine version, which I think is a very smart move. Now in this segment, there are some off-road spec compact crossover SUVs. Some are more pretenders and some are actually the real deal contender. What I want to find out is, do you go Equinox Activ or do you go, say, with a Toyota RAV4 TRD off-road? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our cacti green two-tone Equinox Activ trim and find out. Right off the bat, the style. I love the way they gave it a little bit more muscular presence, actually made it 2 inches wider, a little bit over than 2 inches wider than the previous generation. Now, when you go Activ, what are you getting? You're getting that signature Chevrolet lighting, full LED daytime running lamps, turn signals. The black chrome finish, the dark chrome finish, is part of the Activ trim. So this is that signature look of this trim. You'll notice the cacti with our LED projector beam headlight, fog lamp, and then just a little bit of gloss black in that lower corner area. Now, as we come across the grille, what do we have going on? You got your Activ badge that blends in nicely with the gloss black grille, the chrome brow with the Chevrolet blacked out bow tie, and I like the dark chrome finish. And then, like I said, this grille is specific to the Activ. One of the ways you know, besides the actual Activ name, is you get this venting on both sides, which it looks great, but I am gonna have to zonk it because it's totally fake. Would have been nice to have some actual functionality to that, or maybe what might have been cool is to have some LED driving lights. So you have your headlights, you have your fog lamps, and then make these LED driving lights in there for when you're going off the beaten path at night. I think maybe that would have helped with the look and also with the functionality. Now, what's awesome is you are getting a forward-facing camera, which a lot of the pretenders don't come with. This has it. Some more of that dark chrome finish, and then on the bottom you got a little bit of cacti, and then you have the flat black. The flat black is gonna take a better beating than if it was all gloss black or painted. But let me know what you think about the new face of this Activ trim. Now, as we rise up, you got a very prominent hood that's been raised that really gives it the style of a larger Chevrolet vehicle like a Silverado truck or a Colorado. And then I like the peak fenders. I think that's important as well when you're doing your sort of off-road path driving, because this isn't meant to be a rock crawler, right? This is meant to take you down that path where the asphalt ends. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So what you're gonna find are these 17-inch wheels. Love the machined aluminum accents, gunmetal metallic gray, and then there's the contender part. These are actual general grabber all-terrain tires. So 17-inch wheel with this all-terrain tire, 235 on the width, 65 series sidewall. What's fascinating is that you would think the Activ trim would just come automatically all-wheel drive. It does not. You could actually get front-wheel drive version of the Activ or an all-wheel drive. I think that Chevrolet should have just made it all-wheel drive, since this is a vehicle meant for going through the dirt, through the mud, and all that good stuff. Some flat black, I think, works very, very well. And the way that they squared off the fender to make it more in alignment like a Colorado, a Chevrolet Colorado truck, really gives it that nice, bold, muscular look. Now, as we rise up from the side, you got that two-tone style. So we have our bright white roof bright white on the mirror caps. I think it was smart to bring the white to the mirror caps, especially since you have the white on the A-pillar. We got the Equinox name spelled out in gloss black trim, and then flat black all along the bottom, which, like I said, will take a better beating over time. The Equinox has grown a little bit in size. It's still a compact, but boy, does it look very rugged. Color matched on your mirror caps, that cacti green, and just gloss black along the bottom of the trim here where our window frames are. Another smart move. Now, as we come towards the rear, look at the way that they did the quarter glass. I love the way they didn't just do like a trapezoid or a rhombus or any other usual geometric shape. Very interesting, and it's all glass, which is nice. The white goes all the way out onto the roof spoiler. And then as we swing it around back, what are we looking at when it comes to lighting? You're gonna have your full LED lighting, just like we have the headlights, taillights, all LED turn signals. You got the Equinox all-wheel drive badge. And then what's wonderful is that you are gonna have that digital rear view mirror camera technology. Love the way the white comes all the way back on the roof spoiler. It does have an exposed wiper, but the RAV4 also has an exposed wiper. So we'll call it even Stevens because of Stephen Flood, who's filming right now. And then as we work our way down, I like the way they did this gunmetal metallic gray finish on the lower bumper area with the Activ name spelled out. So new trim, and you can find the Activ trim also on vehicles like the Chevy Trailblazer, which is that subcompact. This is a compact, Trailblazer is a subcompact. But let's see what's powering this Equinox redesign for 2025. Let's go pop the hood. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod, but the Toyota RAV4 also has a prop rod. Underneath the hood, I think the one thing that's a little bit sad is that it is the same exact engine from the previous model year. So what are you looking at? You're looking at a 1.5 liter turbocharged inline four producing 175 horsepower, 203 pound-feet of torque, and it's made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now the good news is they reprogrammed the transmission to really keep the power in the sweet spot and the torque in that sweet spot while you're driving. Since we have all-wheel drive, it comes with the 8-speed automatic. If you decide to go active front-wheel drive, that comes with a new CVT transmission. But with the all-wheel drive, 0 to 60 in about 7.8 seconds, top speed is 125 miles an hour. You could tow up to 1,500 pounds. The vehicle weighs 3,627 pounds. MPGs, you're looking at 24 in the city and 29 on the highway. So interesting take on this vehicle because of it being turbocharged compared to the RAV4, which is naturally aspirated inline four. Both of them have 8-speed automatic transmissions and of course all-wheel drive. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this Equinox Activ and see it roll. All right, guys, we are inside this 2025 Chevrolet Equinox, totally redesigned and a new trim known as the Activ trim. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, how much is this new Equinox? Well, the great news is that it's going to be priced to go after vehicles like the Toyota RAV4 TRD Off-Road. MSRP for the Activ trim is right around $36,695. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I love the two-tone material. You got the EvoTex new tan material, nice and soft, flat black on the switchgear, and just a little bit of gloss black. But the bad news is that I'm gonna have to zonk because you're gonna have a lot of fingerprints. So you better have your Chevrolet microfiber cloth to wipe off all your fingerprints. Door pocket is decent. You could drive over to Chicago and get 2 big old hot dogs and a soft pretzel, plus a bottle of root beer to wash it down in there. So it's a decent size. Going from the door panel to the dash, love the Evo-Tex, the nice stitching, even the way they did this trim here. Better than just gloss black, and it's got a nice little cool design, and they knock it out of the park when it comes to AC vents. Very kind of Art Deco style. Now, as you slide on in, you have a new infotainment system, 11.3-inch infotainment system with the Google Maps, the full Google Assistant, all your usual icons that you're familiar with. You can control your AC. Look at the nice colors. The graphics, turn on recirculation, and then cameras. This is another one of my favorites for Chevrolet. They blow Toyota out of the water with the resolution of their cameras, every different angle. Nice to have those when you are going off the beaten path. And then we're right back to maps. Working our way down, love the Evo-Tex with the stitching. We got dual climate with the digital readouts. 3 stages of ventilated seats, 3 stages of heated seats. And then down below, you got a USB-C, a USB-A, and a place for 8 Twinkies. And then look at this, because we have an electric shifter, you actually have a place for a canteen, a fanny pack, some headbands, whatever you want to put down here, easy access to get to. Now, what's even better, and I'm actually going to show you with my own phone, look at this, wireless charging, and it's got plenty of room. So if you have one of those iPhones that's like an iPad, you could actually fit it in here. We got our mode selector switch, and when it comes to the modes, you do have 3 different modes, which is nice, including off-road mode. 2 cup holders. Can't forget the Chevrolet bow tie key fob, Louis Chevrolet, with the remote start. A place for some atomic fireballs. And then open this up. You're ready for an adventure. You could actually get a bag of those big, thick, soft marshmallows, a package of graham crackers. You see where I'm going with this, right? And of course, some Hershey's milk chocolate. It's got to be Hershey's. It's got to be milk chocolate, so you can make some killer s'mores. There's actually a pile of wood right behind Steven right now. We're going to set that on fire, and then we're going to make some s'mores before we get on a plane to fly home to Florida. But you could have your s'mores kit in there, nicely set up for whenever you find a bundle of sticks on the side of the road, and you can just set up shop. Seats, love the quality, the microfiber suede material, the active embroidery. Look at the way they did the colors, the piping, the stitching. You do have electric controls for the passenger. I have electric controls for my seat, and there's a panoramic sunroof. Another nice feature. You know, you look at vehicles like the Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness, you don't get a panoramic sunroof. You don't get ventilated seats. These are the extra touches. Plus, you don't get one of these, digital rearview mirror. So nice to have the digital rearview mirror, super clear resolution. Come on over here to the business end though. I want to show you behind the wheel in this Activ Equinox. All right guys, business time behind the wheel. Now the nice thing is you do get 2 memory seat settings for the driver's seat. So if you want to let somebody borrow your Equinox, they're not going to mess up your seat setting. Getting to those seat controls, well within fingertip reach. I like the lower lumbar. Look at the materials though, even on the sides of the seats, the stitching. That's one area that I think they really improved upon is the comfort of the seats. Not only do they look good, but they feel good. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom in here. Steering wheel, it's nice. I wish they would have done some tan contrast stitching in here and an Activ badge, just to kind of make it feel a little bit more special since this is the top trim. You do have a heated seat, flat black on all the switchgear, paddles to go up and down the 8-speed automatic transmission. You do have a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And what's kind of cool is you could turn on and off your all-wheel drive all by the press of a button. And then, of course, you have that 11-inch digital gauge cluster. A little bit of a white wedding. Billy Idol. Love the 80s. Scroll through. You can bring up your Google Maps. Look at that. We're like on a peninsula of the 10,000 lakes surrounding us. You could do your adaptive cruise. You want it calm? They'll give it to you calm. But if you like to have a hectic life, a busy life with a lot of noise, there's all that information. The one thing that this does not have is, of course, a head-up display. But it does have more safety features than the previous Equinox. But let's get in the back seat and see if it's got more room for your passengers for 2025. All right, guys, back seat time. I love how the materials come into the back seat. The Evotex, the microfiber suede. Backs of the seats, it's smart that it's all dark. This is gonna help you keep the seats clean, especially if you have kids, they're eating powdered donuts, maybe they're picking their nose and they're wiping it on the back of the seat. First of all, you need to tell your kids not to do that. Second of all, you could get them to clean off. Not you, them. That's my advice. You do have a decent sized pocket back here. What you're gonna wanna do is probably keep a mirror. The reason why is that because of social media, I feel like especially young people don't understand that they need to love themselves, and they look at other people and they feel like they're not enough or their lives don't matter. So keep a mirror back here and get your kid to love themselves, because they can't really truly love somebody else until they love themselves. Back little command center area, you do have 3 stages of heated seats, which are nice. AC vents and 2 USB-Cs down below. I'm 6 feet tall and I really can't believe the amount of room back here. Lots of great room. Of course, you're gonna get a center armrest, nice and soft, 2 cup holders. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the cargo area, because I want to take you for a spin in this Equinox. All right, guys, cargo area time. You're gonna hit the button. Now, because this is a little bit larger of a crossover SUV compared to last year, you do have more room. That's actually 29.8 cubic feet of space with the rear seats up. Fold the rear seats down, you're looking at about 63 cubic feet of space. Of course, you're gonna have your nook where you could put your gallon of chocolate milk. Everybody knows where chocolate milk comes from, right? That comes from brown cows. And then what's nice is, besides the 60-40 split, look at the storage that you have underneath. So if you're going on an adventure out here in Minnesota, you know, what does the license plate say? The land of 10,000 lakes. If you're going out there, you're gonna wanna stock up on supplies. Get the Twinkies. A lot of people think you want like a granola bar or a protein bar. If you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere, Twinkies will last you forever. They actually did a study that if there was a nuclear explosion, we would all die, but there would be cockroaches and Twinkies that would survive. Another little treat that I have for you is I want to show you, if you're going on an adventure and you have luggage, what does that look like? So I have 2 carry-ons here. And even with the 2 carry-ons and the rear seat up, I mean, you got plenty of room. I mean, we could even take Steven's camera bag. Look at that. We're ready for an adventure. I'm ready to get my Twinkies and go out in the middle of the woods. I don't know why, but I'm ready. But what I'm also ready for is I want to take you for a spin in this Activ. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go for a drive in the new Equinox. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Chevrolet Equinox, this being the Activ trim. Right away, I love how they set up the interior, especially for the driver. There's tons of storage spaces, tons of connectivity, easy reach to the infotainment system. And what else is great is that the way they have these A-pillars pulled very far apart gives you a great view out the windshield. Now, of course, with those grabber all-terrain tires, there is a little bit more road noise, but I think that they found a good compromise, because compared to some other off-road spec compact crossover SUVs, they definitely are more aggressive on the tread pattern compared to some of the others. So it's gonna give you that more confidence of an driving experience once you go off the beaten path. But having the ability to have the all-wheel drive, and then, like I said, by the press of a button, you could put it right into front-wheel drive, and that to me makes it almost like idiot-proof. You have your different modes, snow mode, which we don't need today, normal, and then the off-road mode. Now, when you go into off-road mode, it automatically puts the vehicle into all-wheel drive. And then, like I said, to get it out of all-wheel drive, you're just going to press the button and then it'll display two-wheel drive. But that happens only in normal mode. Once you go into off-road or snow and ice, then it goes into all-wheel drive mode automatically. So nice to have that. I'm curious why there's not a sport mode. But I guess the good news is in normal mode, or really in off-road mode as well, the weight of the steering wheel feels really, really nice. And I'm gonna go ahead and put us into normal mode just to really talk about what I'm feeling. Is like they did a great job where it has a nice sporty feel to it. It's not too heavy, but it's also not too light as well. I think it's like the Goldilocks setup of steering feel for that everyday use that you want to have. But the seats are supportive without feeling too soft. And obviously we showed you just how much room there is for your passengers and for your cargo in the back. But I love seeing the new broad hood, and that cacti green color has really, really grown on me. It really kind of plays well, especially with the interior color, and also kind of like that adventure theme. Nobody's behind us. I want to go on throttle in two-wheel drive. On throttle, here we go. So a little bit of traction loss, but then the traction control kicks in. Let's go ahead. I'm going to switch all-wheel drive on by pressing that button. There we go. All-wheel drive. And now I'm going to go on throttle again. Like I said, nobody's behind us. On throttle. So as you can see, all grip, no slip. And if you want to shift with the paddles, you can through the 8-speed automatic. But my biggest takeaway, like I said, is that you are getting a little bit more road noise, but not a ton, which is good. But the driving and handling dynamics are really, really nicely set up with the new Equinox. And we discovered what Chevrolet is doing when we first drove the redesigned tracks. The way these new crossover SUVs from Chevy are handling, they're nice and sporty, but it's also not harsh to where it's shaking the fillings out of your mouth. But as you can see on this little twisty stretch of road, just very compliant, very buttoned down, and it's going to be interesting to see just how popular this Activ trim is, because you are getting more and more crossovers like the Tucson XRT, like obviously the Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness, and then of course what we're in right now, which is the Equinox Activ. But very impressed with the materials, and then of course I'm blown away by the amount of storage in here. All right guys, we have this little gravel area, and I think this is really where a lot of people are going to take their Equinox Activs. The Equinox Activ is not a rock crawler. It's meant to go off the beaten path, and with those grabber all-terrain tires, I'm not going to have to worry about puncturing a sidewall or not getting good grip because of the beefiness of a true off-road tire. I went ahead and put it into all-wheel drive mode, which is off-road mode, and that sets up the all-wheel drive. And then of course it works the torque vectoring and the sending of power to the rear wheels from the front to really get the traction. So if you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. Got the grip. Really gives you good feedback through the wheel. And you can see how really nice. I mean, swing out the back a little bit. There we go. Look at that. Yeah! So you can have fun with your Equinox. Making some donuts in the dirt. And then you go back on road and you're on throttle. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of off-road mode and go back into normal. But it shows the versatility, right? I mean, that's what the whole purpose of this Activ trim is, just having that little extra something to take you off the beaten path, put the kayak in the water a little bit further than anybody else. Guys, we found this other area of this path just to kind of show you. Like I said, I think what I really wanted to focus on is some of that off-roading. And you can see how it does a great job with the suspension. Look at this. Not an issue whatsoever. And a thing on top of it, because it's a compact crossover, is that you don't have to worry about this big, huge SUV that you're driving. The dimensions are really, really nicely set up for this vehicle. But it does a great job with the suspension tuning. And then, of course, to make a U-turn, you could do it in those tight areas. I'm gonna go ahead, how about let's show off some of this camera technology. So we're gonna go into our infotainment system, pull up cameras. Look at that, out the front and the 360. And what's great about it is that the camera stays on. I'm over 17 miles an hour and the camera stays on. Really, really like the way that the GM vehicles do that. And then, like I said, going over the terrain here, I mean, look at this. Really nicely done. Very surprising. This has actually surprised me how well that this handles on a gravel road or any kind of, you know, non-paved surface. It really handles super well. But I'm hoping that this has been a good overall review of what the Equinox is bringing for 2025. We need to get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. It's been another great day in so many ways here in Minnesota. I am personally loving the lower humidity compared to my home state of Florida. But we got to thank the whole Chevrolet team having us out for this first drive with this Equinox Activ. Let me know what you think. Has Chevrolet made the right changes to the Equinox to make it a contender against all the tough competition in the compact crossover SUV segment, especially the Toyota RAV4 TRD Off-Road? Let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Need to give it up to Stephen Flood. He is happy that he's got his knee protection today because we've had to do some creative filming to keep the shadows off of the new Equinox, and I think that he did a stupendous job. So show him some love in the comment section. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.